Hello friends, welcome to CCR TV. We are in conversation with friends from time to time, and I will not let you know who this friend is because I want to follow the cliche which says everyone knows this person. Is it or isn't it? That's what you will decide. So my guest who I'll be conversing with is Dr. Maria Noemia Mascarenhas. Does it ring a bell? Well, let's ask Noemia herself to tell us why people should be knowing her and what things she has done. So here we have Dr. Maria Noemia Mascarenhas. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Nicholas. So what can I tell you about myself? Noemia Mascarenhas. I'm married to Francisco Dias, and we live on Airport Road, Marathon Gardens, that is in Vasco. And I was looking over my life and I said, how would I introduce myself? And I thought, I think the biggest gift which God has brought to fruition in my life is teaching. And as I was going through my life, I saw that I've done various forms of teaching. Formal teaching, like in a school, in a college. I was teaching at Rosary College, Navali. Then I've taught in seminaries. I've taught the nuns in Mother Day, Old Goa. So these are all formal with syllabus and regular timings and all. So I could call it formal teaching. But much more I've done informal teaching. That is like prayer group, charismatic prayer group teachings. Then in the diocese, the various small Christian communities and training of leaders for small Christian communities and parish councils. My husband and I were part of the Diocesan Pastoral Plan 1990, that is the planning of it, and then the execution of it. So we used to go around teaching priests, nuns, lay people about small Christian communities and the Diocesan Pastoral Plan.
On a regular basis?
Voluntary,
okay.
Whenever the diocese had a program and wanted us.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had a full-time job, and then later on I was teaching in a college. So mostly Saturday, Sundays or the evenings or something like that. And then after that, we started Sangam, which was for formation of lay persons. So there were a lot of small groups where we taught the faith in various ways. And then we used to give inner healing retreats. So that was also a form of teaching. Then the daily flash, which I started, was actually my intention was to teach the faith through daily little quotas. Meditations, and then when I started it, I used to put in little bits of the church documents related to something in the book and make it a platform where people could learn the faith. So that was also a form of teaching. And various books that we have written, my goal has always been to try and teach people. Even the counseling that we did at retreats and all, it's also a form of teaching. So I see my main work in life, which God has given me, is teaching, and specifically teaching of the faith. But I've also taught my subject is sociology. I did my doctorate in sociology. So what I was teaching theology students, but I was teaching sociology of religion.
Okay.
So it was first year, second year, third year student theology. That means after 1 year they get ordained for priesthood. But I was teaching sociology of religion, except in JDV in Pune, Gandhi Vidyapit. Over there I taught church documents.
Okay.
including Salvifici Dolores. So they never
Which
learned documents.
On which your book is based, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I taught that. I taught Christi Fidelis Laici, which is about the laity. It's all my favorite documents. And then I taught something on inculturation, that is closer to sociology. Like I used quite a lot of my sociology knowledge in that. But that was something quite exceptional because I didn't have the qualifications to teach theology students. I've only done a certificate course in theology. You need either a master's or a licentiate or a PhD in theology to teach. So, because I was teaching church documents and it was something which they don't get an opportunity to do otherwise, I was invited to teach over there. Yeah.
And you spoke of books that you wrote and maybe as a group. Can you show us some of those books?
Well, I brought a sampling. Yeah, so I had written small books when I was in the Jubilee Committee for the year 2000. Father Almir was the coordinator. He was the convener of that group. And then they were bringing out little pamphlets to educate people, and Jesu Christ Jayanti. And they were not selling, they were grumbling about it because they were not selling. And
because it was in Konkani, maybe?
Some were in Konkani, some in English, some in both languages.
Okay.
So then the Pope had brought out a prayer for the Jubilee, a long theological one, no, as usual. So what I thought is, let's break it up into parts. And I made, it was, I think, Year of the Holy Spirit. So I made a novena to the Holy Spirit by breaking that up into 9 parts. And with each bit of the prayer, I put a little hymn and a little prayer and a scripture reading and made it like a prayer service. Okay. So people could use it. And those booklets sold very well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a bookshop at that time and people used to come for little booklets of prayer. So I thought this is quite popular. Let's make it that size. And the priests on the committee were very happy because they had printed some 3,000, I think, first, and then they got sold out and they printed some more, then they translated it into Konkani, and 20,000 copies sold that year.
Oh, wow.
So they made a good profit also on that. And the prayer got said by everybody. Yeah. The whole long thing people may not have said, correct, but like this in bits, they would say it. And it was a novena to the Holy Spirit, so people were quite enthusiastic about it and saying that prayer. So then I brought out one like that for each of the years, Year of the Father, Jesus Christ, and then the Trinity. So I had done this kind of publishing, but my name never came into it.
That's what, I don't remember hearing your name.
Yeah, so I did it for the diocese. Okay. Yeah. And we brought out one in that final year, Catholic answers to common questions, which was actually answering the questions of believers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we brought out for Pastor's Day when Archbishop Raoul was celebrating some special jubilee of his. So it was dedicated to him. There again, I never put my name, but I think Father Almir in his introduction thanked me for the book.
Okay.
So I had done some work earlier, but when we started Sangam, we started thinking about a theology for the laity, because not much thinking has been done about the role of lay people and how they can build God's kingdom in the world. So our role is not to build the church, our role is to build God's kingdom in our places of work, in our homes. It's a totally different role. And not much thinking or writing has been done on this. So we came out with this first book, What Do You Do on Mondays, which is actually a theology of work. And this book was written by 4 of us. That's my husband Francisco and I, and Clifford De Silva and his wife Dina.
Okay.
So the 4 of us wrote this book. And we had a conference for people from all over Goa on this subject organized by Center for Lay Apostles and us, Sangam. And Bishop Philip Neri, that time he was not cardinal yet, he gave the keynote address, which was a brilliant keynote address, really speaking about the vocation of the lay persons. And he mentioned in his talk, Mr. Catholic went to church. He never missed a Sunday. But when he died, he went to hell for what he did on Monday.
Oh my goodness.
So all of us got this idea that we were writing the book at that time, and we all thought, let's call the book, What Do You Do on Mondays? So that's how we got the title of our first book.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I was doing a lot of work with single women and widows and all that. So I brought out this book, Daring It Alone, which was for single people and for widows. Yeah. And this was released at a conference, the first ever conference for widows in Goa, which we held in Vasco and we had helped to organize. And then there was this, we had developed a program on baptism to understand baptism according to the ideas given in Christi Fidelis Laity, which gives very succinctly but very wonderful ideas. So I developed that, and then we used to give a program to help people understand their baptism. And those ideas are in this book, and also on this, which I brought out for St. Vincent de Paul. So I adapted it with readings of their founder, Frederick Ozanam, and some other readings on poverty, and brought out this. I think it's the first time they ever had a book of their own for their spiritual reading, Finding Our Treasure. And the other one I brought out for our Jubilee, 450 years of our parish, The Light Within. So it's English and Konkani. And we brought out this book. It was also based on one of our programs, How Did We Get the Bible? So it's got a lot of theology in it, but put in a very simple way with a lot of pictures and all that, so that's very easy to digest.
Is this also in answer to believers' questions?
No. This is just how did we get the Bible, but in some oblique way it will answer many of the questions of fundamentalists. Yeah. And this, My Way of the Cross, it's based on St. John Paul's Way of the Cross. He started a different way of the cross, which is what the popes now follow every Good Friday when they have that public way of the cross. So that format is completely based on the Bible. Whereas what we use, those 14 stations, that thing of Veronica wipes the face and he fell on one knee and then he fell on another, that's not documented in the Bible. But it's just a tradition. Whereas what he did was entirely based on the Bible. And it starts with agony in the garden and ends with the resurrection, which actually makes a lot of sense because without the resurrection, suffering has no value.
So in other words, it has the 14 stations?
It has 15 stations.
15 stations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Way of the Cross is a pious practice which has changed over the years. In the beginning there were 3 stations, then there were 7 stations. So it has developed, but over the last few centuries it has been 14 stations.
And how has this been received?
Oh, very nice. What I did was I made it with pictures. And they're all famous artists, so each station has a picture. And on this side is the picture of that station in the Holy Land. So people like me who will never reach Holy Land can see at least the picture of that station. And then there's a Bible passage, there's a reflection, and there's like hints for talking to Jesus. And a quotation from Salvifici Dolores. I've never seen any other Way of the Cross that has Salvifici Dolores quotations in it.
So it must be a very meaningful book for Lent. For Lent.
For Lent, and all through the year. No? Way of the Cross, we always suffer, so it's always helpful. Yeah, so I know people who do it every day, in fact. Yeah, so this sold very well. Actually, when I was small, my dad had bought a little booklet, Stations of the Cross, with pictures. And there were no reflections or anything, just the title in 4 or 5 languages and the picture. And I used to sit and meditate on the picture. And I loved that book. So I've never seen something like that in India.
Okay.
And this was an Italian publication. So I wanted to bring out something where people can see pictures. Even an illiterate person can look at the pictures and meditate.
Why illiterate? Even adults like me would prefer pictures than, written material.
Yeah. Pictures can help you actually
Of
to have
course.
your own reflections and meditations and all that. So I spent a lot of time researching for these pictures, but I was very happy with it, and it sold very well.
Okay.
Yeah, I printed
And
thousands.
still available?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I brought out different versions of it. I brought out one with the life of Saint Alphonsus Liguori for the Redemptorists. So they took all the 3,000 copies. So then I brought one for single women with what they go through, reflections. And so there are different versions. One was in Konkani. Father Manuel Combs translated it into Konkani, and then we published it. So in all, about 10,000 copies we've sold with various prints.
Very useful work.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to you, honestly.
So this is my favorite baby is The Way of the Cross, because as I say, it is something which I've developed from my own experience. So I always say I'm like a spider, that brings a web out of its own body.
Correct.
So this book and this other one that I brought out now, they are like spun out from my own experience. Yeah.
So speaking about the book, friends, here is the book. It says, Unlocking the Secrets of Suffering. Now, unless you go through some suffering, generally you cannot, tell other people how to face the suffering that they are undergoing. And coming back to the first question, Noemia definitely is a well-known personality, and we can follow this cliche, she doesn't need any introduction. That is why I chose to ask Noemia herself to talk about her background. And of course, she prudently forgot to tell us that she is a first-class first at the MA, and that she passed the NET exam, quite difficult to pass, at the very first attempt. And many, many other things, hats off to her. Okay? So let's now come back to this book. Have I stopped you from sharing something more on your books?
No.
Okay. So in this book, there are beautiful examples, anecdotes, life experiences. And what I did was I bought quite a few and shared it with some widowed persons who are going through their own suffering. And for me, that was my way of sharing in your evangelization, because I found the book so meaningful. And having known you from over 30, 40, 50 years
Time
maybe.
immemorial.
Yes, because my first memory of you and Francisco, your husband-to-be, was at the retreat in Old Goa. And you were such a vibrant couple, though you were not yet married. And I had gone there because my wife was suffering. And speaking of suffering, tell us, what was your suffering? What was your so-called disease?
Yeah, so it took some time to be diagnosed, about 3 years, but it was diagnosed as systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE. Yeah, quite a mouthful.
It is. And I can identify with that because my wife's illness was diagnosed almost at the 11th hour. And within a year after that, she passed away. But that apart, I feel you have lived for so many years bravely facing what you went through. And that is why I'd like to ask you a few questions pertaining to what you have written in this book, which you feel free to talk about briefly, or if you don't want to, it's up to you. Okay? So, for instance, the cover design is so unique. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so the covers for all our books have been done by Agnello Silvera.
Okay.
He did the first Daily Flash covers also. So he's our friend, but he's also a professional artist and a very talented artist, very good artist. And I give him the idea, I have the concept, so I give it to him, and then he thinks about it and he gives me some 2-3 versions of how it could be expressed, and sometimes 5 versions, sometimes 10 versions. He's very patient when it comes to his work. He takes a lot of trouble over it. And then I will choose one, or like this one, I chose a little bit of one design and a little bit of another design, and then told him, he, poor fellow, has to do it again and again and again, but he's had a lot of patience. But the final product is very good. Yeah, he's, I cannot find a substitute for Agnello. He's really a good artist. So this cover is, the black is symbolic of suffering, because that's what we feel. It's like a black dark night that we go through. So it's a black door. You can see the lines, wood grains of the door at the side. And that green is, the words, green is the color of hope.
Yes.
So when we unlock the secrets, we have hope. And through the peephole, you can see the light shining out. So when we unlock the secrets, then we get a lot of light into the darkness. So that's what the book is trying to do, is to bring light into the darkness. And then there is the golden key, which is love. So if you want me to tell you about the book, I think the shortest summary I can give is that it is about how love can transform suffering. That, I think, is the shortest summary I can give of the entire book.
And very succinct.
So,
yes.
So that's the golden key over there. You notice it's golden, and
Yes.
it's that's representing love, how it opens the black door and lets the light in. And then that little suffering person can be seen through, who's trying to take in the light of the secrets of suffering. Yeah, and then the light is coming out a little bit from that room where the secrets of suffering have brought in a lot of light.
Okay.
So that is...
Now, a good bit of your book is kind of linked with Salvifici Dolores.
Dolores.
Okay. And if I may ask you, when did that concept come that you wanted to write the book on suffering, or why did you want to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, so Salvifici Dolores helped me a lot. So now next March will be 40 years since the lupus started.
A long time, yes.
So the first 20 years I was still searching, and I read quite a bit on suffering. So there are many who write theory about suffering. Those who have really gone through suffering and write their experience, I think those books really help. I found only one that really touched me, and that was Archbishop Van Tuan, Vietnamese Archbishop, who suffered a lot for his faith. And he was put into solitary confinement, not just prison, for many years. So solitary confinement, you don't meet anybody, you just go mad with
Exactly.
it. So he shares his experience and how they smuggled in a little bottle of wine as being medicine. And with that, he used to celebrate Mass, 1 drop of wine to celebrate Mass every day quietly in the prison. So he gives a lot of very touching experiences that he went through, and also his theology on suffering. So that book, it's called Testimony of Hope. And that book really helped me. But otherwise, there's lots written about how, suffering makes you better, suffering makes you strong, suffering is a test from God. And to be honest, all these things are very poor comfort when you are in agony and,
Absolutely.
and suffering. So they didn't really help me very much. So I was always searching, and one day I met a friend in the market, and she had lost a young child, and she was very upset and broken about it. And she said to me, you know what really helped me was Salve Fici Dolores. So I came home, and then we love books, so we have a lot of documents of the church. So I searched, and this book was there, but I had never read it or given it a second look. Yeah. So I took it one morning, and then I sat after breakfast and I read the whole document, and I finished it by lunchtime. It's a small book. I brought it to show you, actually, in case you spoke about it. It's just a small book. It's well thumbed, of course.
I must confess, like you, I bought it and it's in my cupboard. So I must go and locate where it is. And
actually, I love church documents. Many people find it very hard to read.
Yeah.
So I just read it from cover to cover, and I knew I had found my answer.
Okay.
And my experience was, the person I thought of was Edith Stein. She's a saint now, Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross or something. But Edith Stein was her name before religious life. She was actually of Jewish origin, but she had given up Jewish religion now. She was atheist, but brilliant woman. And she was teaching at a university and things like that. She read the life of Saint Teresa of Avila. And she closed the book and said, "This is truth." And she became a Christian, and later on she joined the cloistered Carmel. She ended up in Auschwitz in a concentration camp where she was killed by the Jews.
By the Germans.
By the Nazis, yeah. So, but that experience I identified with. You close the book and this is it. And I had this feeling, I found it, this is it. This is what I've been searching for. And then I kept reading and rereading, and more than reading, I integrated those insights into my life and I lived it. It was a lived document. And then I was so excited at having found it. I wanted to tell the whole world about it. So I found nobody knew about Salve Fici Dolores. I asked one priest who was a brilliant man teaching at the seminary. He said, "Oh, yeah, this had come out when we were students and we were made to read it." And he said it with so much distaste that I knew that he wouldn't give it a second look.
Yeah.
And I thought, you got to be suffering to really appreciate this document. So I found many priests had never heard of it. And even spiritual directors who've been 40 years spiritual directors, they were saying, "Yeah, that document, I want to read it, give me a copy," and it was out of print. So I thought, this is something really God is calling me to tell the whole world about it. So that time we had Sankam, we used to have recollections and retreats. So I used to have morning to evening recollections on this topic. And not making it difficult. I think that's a gift God has given me, to make very complicated things simple. So
Not vice versa.
I hope not. So I used to explain some main insights, but I was teaching the document, so I used to give like a little summary on each chapter, like with actual text, like so they could savor it. But then I used to put times for reflection and some hymns and all that, so that they could put their own experience into those insights. And
Which is what you have incorporated in the book also.
Yeah, a little bit. So that's my way of teaching. Actually, the book is also a teaching for me. It's it's not just a book, but it's the way that I teach. Actually, I've written the book.
True.
So then, little by little, I started giving retreats out, like some Jesuit Tertians were doing, that's after they become priests, you know, when they are, before they take their final vows, they were doing their 1 month retreat in Pedro Arrupe in Raya. So they invited me to give this session on Salve Ficha Dolores. That must have been 1 hour or 2 hours, I don't know. And then I gave the retreat at Rashol Seminary. They have a retreat which is from Tuesday before Ash Wednesday night, whole of Ash Wednesday, and ending Thursday morning. So I must have broken tradition because they normally call a priest to come and give that. Yeah. And here was not only a lay person, but a woman. Women are anathema in these places. So I gave this retreat. And then I gave it to the cloistered Carmels. And I remember one old nun coming to me afterwards. They had a French nun from when they first started the convent, Sister Yvonne. She came to me and she said, "Thank you so much. I used to always wonder why Jesus had to suffer so much. And now I got my answer." And I was so touched by that, you know, that religious people are finding answers, like, and at that age, because she's no more, but I gave it like that in various places in different forms, like 1 hour, full day, and various, whatever way I could. And then I brought out this Way of the Cross, actually with that in mind, that people will come to know about Salve Ficha Dolores, because everybody does Way of the Cross.
So this was one step prior to the main book.
Yeah, this I brought out, I think, first one in 2011, I think. And then after that, many other editions. The book is now, 14 years down the road. So I just wanted everyone to know this good news that I've struggled so long to find. So I can give it to you and then you can get it shortcut. You don't have to struggle and claw your way to reach the top. You can just get it on a silver platter, and maybe you can stand on my shoulders and see much further than what I have seen also, you know. So that was my intention. That so with this background I wrote this book. Actually, the idea first came when we were celebrating our silver jubilee of our wedding, Francisco and I. So I'm a little allergic to, very big parties and celebrations. I feel they're a waste of money, and I've always lived my life very simple.
Frugally.
So,
lived your life frugally.
Yeah, simply, I would say. Okay. And both of us are of the same mind. So I thought, what can I do for my silver jubilee which will help people? And I can spend that same money which I would have spent on a big bash. I could spend that money like to bring out a book for it. First I thought for a long time what I could do, and then I thought of a book. And then I thought of something on suffering which would help people. But unfortunately I thought of it too late. It was just 1 month before our Silver Jubilee, and you can't write a book in 1 month. So I actually started on it, then I realized that I'm killing myself for nothing, I won't manage it. But the thought remained, and then in the meanwhile, I was gathering material, reading, researching, reading Lives of Saints, and I got some testimonies from people and all that. And then it got shelved while I brought out all these other books. These all came after I had started all this. Then last year I offered it to the diocese. And Cardinal Philip said, yeah, go ahead. With this. So I was kind of commissioned to do this, and I had a problem because I can no longer use the computer. I have been doing all my books, and then it's easy to change things and all when you're using a computer. But Francisco always comes to my rescue. He said, don't worry, I'll type for you. He had retired by then, so he said, I'll do the typing, you write. So I wrote it by hand and then he typed it out. But typed it means it's not just writing and typing. I would write and I'd get another thought, so I'd cancel and then I'd write on top. And then I think I should shift this here, so I'd circle it and then put an arrow. And no other typist would have understood he knows my thinking, so he knew where to place things and all that, but he had quite a tough time. And he deciphered all my little squiggles and shifting here and shifting there, and then he would type and retype, and he really deserves a gold medal for all the work that he did to bring out this book. But it took double the time, because when you're doing your own stuff, like, you can change whatever you want on the computer. Yeah, you would print, then I would go through it and then see if it is correct. Then
Now, that is about the book.
yeah.
But I seriously want to interview Francisco himself because he was by your side all these 40 years, and more so when the illness started showing itself. So it would be nice to have an interview of a male perspective in that sense. But God willing, we'll see when it can happen. Now, I'm looking at the time. I'm wondering whether we should call it a day and maybe, if possible, have another session some other time. But right now, I just want to end by saying you've done a fantastic job, because my purpose in having this interview with you was for people to know that there are books which are readable, meaningful, and so very helpful. And I'm referring to people like those who are facing tremendous suffering, and of course suffering in different forms. I'm thinking of the widowed, because I myself am a widower. And as I look back, when my wife got the disease, it took 4 years to really come to what that disease was all about, by which time it was too late. And I found the book, so very cathartic. I took time to read and digest and underline and sideline and put question marks, because I wanted to imbibe it. And I want this to happen to persons who will choose to buy it, because it is, like a steal at the rate of 120 rupees for a book that is of so many pages and so well brought out. I would say you could invest 1,000 and not get such a good book.
That's
So
nice.
my purpose is in getting people to buy the book, read it, not like a novel. You cannot do that with this book. You need to read, digest, and apply it, because you have given so many exercises and examples. I can think of when you spoke of Dr. Esme and Vivian, I think his name was.
Yeah.
It touched my heart. To a certain extent, I knew them, but over the years, contact has gone. Then you spoke of Milena, and you gave that beautiful example of that little cat. I had tears because it showed your love for animals and how you cared for it. You've not said whether it continued living or not, but the point is, it was a touching example. You spoke of Father Fio and his suffering and how God brought out good out of that suffering. And you've given examples of Saint Alphonsus Liguori and Chiara Batano, and some others also.
She's so sweet and straight and simple.
Yeah.
She gets the message across so nicely.
So what my thought is, and I would like to say directly to the people who will be listening, buy this book. You will not have to spend too much. Perhaps after this, they may realize we should raise the price to 1,000. So don't wait till that happens. Buy the book. And especially if you're going through suffering of different types, this book will help you. So I know I feel bad to be cutting this interview short, but I know that from what you have shared and what they may find in the book, they will not need an interview. So, my sincere thanks for inviting us to your place. I know we did a little bit of shifting here and there, but it was worth inviting us because I'm meeting you now, I think, after almost 30 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
no.
it's a joy. It's a joy. So may the Lord continue the healing process in you, because it's wonderful to see you on your feet. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. And that you are there, you were walking, you were talking, and it's wonderful. So, friends, you must unlock the secrets of suffering. Don't delay, okay? And meanwhile, pray for those who are suffering, including Dr. Noemia. I myself am going through suffering, but maybe as men we don't want to show it. And that's why I told Francisco, let's have an interview with you also. But all said and done, women have been given the strength that comes only from God to face their suffering. Men have their own strengths in their own way. So, thank you again, and God bless you.
I must thank you for thinking of this. I would never have thought of a CCR interview or any TV interview, in fact. So when you said, would you be open to this, it was like a bolt from the blue. And I think Holy Spirit has guided you to
Very
this.
much.
I must thank you, and for taking the trouble to come here, since I can't travel. Thank you and the whole team for taking the trouble to come here. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
No, and on behalf of CCR TV, we as a team want to say thank you, because I have contacted others who have gone through suffering, but they are too either embarrassed or like, what have we to share? But there's so much you can share once you start talking, you know. But then I'm not taking names, I'm not going to blame anybody. But including couples, I interview golden couples. They have gone through difficult times, almost on the verge of divorce, and they are not wanting to talk about it. And I keep on convincing them, trying to convince them, that you will be a help to those who are facing similar problems. But no. So I said, no, in God's time, things will happen. So Noemia, thanks again, and lovely, lovely meeting you. And keep up your good work, because you are, what do you call it, a kind of model to me, because I have thoughts, but transferring them onto paper, it's difficult. But again, God willing, things can happen. So wishing you and Francisco all the very best.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Yeah.